and then do a clap into this camera. Cool. And all that is so that later, because it's two separate recordings. There's an audio recording and a video recording, and then later on when I edit, I have to find the point, and it's hard to do it with lips. If you're trying to read lips and trying to time it, it's fucking hard, bro. So it's easier to time a pitch on the sound and then someone's clap because it's just one point in the film and you line it.
Line it
It's
up.
way little shit, bro.
Tricks of the trade.
Little shit as you learn. I did an interview with Eric Seifert the other day, and I could hear, like right now I have it loud to where I can hear myself. I can hear my voice pretty good.
Yeah.
But I had it lowered it, and I couldn't hear myself really. So I was just like, whatever. Then later on, I was doing something and I turned it up to see how the audio was doing, and I heard. I was like, fuck, how long has that been going? And so then I was trying to remember how to fix it, and I couldn't fix it. So the whole recording was like that. And so I knew I could fix it, but I didn't know how. And I figured out it was the wire. There was a couple things I went back and forth trying to figure out what it was, like troubleshooting it. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I changed out the wire, and I was like, oh, fuck, it was just a bad wire for some reason. The connection was bad. Just little shit. You learn a little bit. And
all this is new to me, so.
Yeah. Have you been on any podcasts?
No.
No, it's the first podcast you did? That's what's up.
One, right on.
That's what's up. My idea with the podcast is really just to interview all the comedians in town and just kind of like help them promote whatever they're doing in town. Like Eric was promoting his comedy show that he has coming up on the Saturday, and then trying to get comedians to promote their stuff.
He just hit me up for the one next month on the 14th. So,
okay.
Yeah, I agreed to do that one with him.
And then artists as well. So like people who do art, like that girl that was here, she does art. So it's just like little by little, just people I've met over the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great.
As far as the comedy part, how did you get into comedy? I know you've told me you've worked for corrections, and then you started going to the open mics, and now I see you on shows everywhere, bro.
Yeah. I actually was just kind of by fluke. I've always, been a like practical joker and stuff, growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I had to like kind of tone it down once I got into corrections and stuff. And even then, it just kind of like, I was more of a balance and stuff, because I see a lot of fucking guys who fucked up attitudes. Once they get on with as a CO, they want to have that fucking now I'm a badass, because I got soft peaches thrown at me in high school and shit. I'm gonna get back to these motherfuckers that used to fuck with me. But no, I've always, like I say, just always kept a real mellow attitude, just And then I've been watching comedy since I was a kid, because I kind of grew up by myself. So I was always watching back then, like Saturday Night Live, Evening at the Improv and stuff, and it was weird because I actually, at a young age, I actually got the jokes and shit. But, I was raised with a single mom, so all the dirty fucking motherfuckers that used to come to the house, always telling jokes and shit like that. And, so I would tell the teachers jokes. Like, hey, you're not supposed to be knowing about shit like that. You're in 5th grade. But no, I actually got. You seen Willie Barcena?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to follow him, man. Guy's hilarious. So one day I'm at he came to town, and he was doing he's doing a show at Papi Chulos. I actually met him probably 15 years ago when he did one at the Nile.
Okay.
And we just bullshit right there, but not to the degree that later on years he came down and did a show at Papi Chulos. And I'd been following him on Facebook. Then we just started bullshitting, and then just kind of swapping stories, drunk stories and stuff like that. And he kind of like put it in my head, hey man, you gotta try, just try stand up. I go, nah, it's just, these are just stories that I'm bullshitting. He goes, I know, that's what stand up is. You're gonna give a piece of yourself, and they're fucking funny. He goes, somebody else would find these stories funny. I said, well, I'll give it a shot one of these days. And then I did they gave me a 3-minute set at that's how I got started. And then just kind of, I figured, okay, it was on my bucket list. So I said, okay, it's good. I got that out of my way. And then I said, I'll do another one. Then another one led to another one. Then it's, I started getting, positive feedback. Hey, when's your next show? When's your next? I go, dude, whenever they call me, I'll just, I'll do a show. Like I did one with you a couple times. But no, that was it. And I just enjoyed it and stuff. And then it kind of like balanced everything out. And,
now that you recently retired, are you doing more, or are you going to travel more? What's your idea of as far as the comedy?
Just kind of taking it as it comes and stuff. I'd like to, go check out the shows, do some shows like at, in LA. You got people coming from all over the world. trying to make it to LA. Shit, we're only an hour and a half away, so
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start trying to get into some shows, but I find out who to contact and stuff. So, but it's I mean, I got all the time in the world now that I'm retired. So
Yeah, I think as long as you got a reel, you can pretty much just send that off to everybody putting on a show. Um, I know when myself, I took like a 3 year break. I got a county job that I really got into and didn't really have time to try to do comedy and get on shows and travel and stuff. And I tried doing a couple shows, but I had to cancel because something would happen and I'd have to stay at work late.
yeah,
And I think I canceled 2 shows like that, and it just kind of didn't feel right. Because people are booking you, and you kind of feel like you're bailing on them a little bit, but
yeah,
it's part of the job.
yeah,
So I didn't do comedy for about like 3 years. I would just do shows with some of the comedians that I knew who weren't like an opener. They would let me know, and I would do that. But I was just doing the same set over and over.
yeah,
And so then, and I wasn't doing any open mics. And so right now I'm trying to bounce back and get back into doing the comedy.
yeah.
But now that you're retired, you're gonna, you said you want to check out some more shows in LA.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try to get booked with some more shows and stuff. I gotta find a way to record, get myself recorded more and stuff. Because most of the recordings I do are just on my phone and stuff.
Yeah, that's something I actually talked to the Laughing Stock. I was talking to them about doing something like that, making reels for people,
Yeah.
or even starting a podcast for them. How was your experience in corrections? Of how's that influencing your comedy?
You know what? It pretty much kind of coincides and stuff because I got a lot of crazy stories that happened back then.
People making pruno.
Oh yeah, that's one of the smaller things and stuff. Making pruno, making weapons, I'm just kind of like, nothing that people don't do out here and shit. But it's like
when I was in high school, I mean, you never think you're a bad kid, but when you start telling people about your life, people are like,
oh yeah,
were you a fucking bad kid? So I got sent to it's not Scared Straight, but it was like they would send these kids, like at-risk kids, to prisons.
yeah,
So they sent me to this prison, and I'm meeting all these different people, and obviously they're all like the bottom level, general population,
right,
level 1 or whatever there are. And so I met this guy, and it was me, this girl, and this guy who had been locked up. He told me he'd been locked up since he was like 16, and he was in his 40s. And so me and him were kind of going back and forth, and the girl's just kind of like, I don't know why she was there. She was in our class, but she was not a fucking bad kid, bro.
yeah.
But they had her go, and I think she just wanted to go with us.
Check out a bad boy.
Something, I don't know, man. She comes with us, and I was just like, what the fuck? And they had us like, we couldn't wear our clothing. We had to wear jumpsuits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so like we were like sitting there talking to this dude, and he's telling me the story. Everybody has like, this guy stole cable. This guy was drunk driving, all these stories, and then this
like,
guy,
shit, my dad does that every weekend.
right? My dad got 3 DUIs. Well, this guy, I was talking to him after a while. I was telling him he told us a story like why we shouldn't commit crimes and how we can easily end up in jail because we made a poor decision. That's like the whole theme of it.
Yeah.
Well, me and him started talking for a while, and I was saying, like, hey, fool. I was like, did you want to come to prison? He's like, fuck no. I was like, well, me neither. But shit happens, right? And then we got to do what we got to do. And so I was like, we can sit here and talk about how I'm not going to come to prison, but we just said all of you guys are in here because of random shit.
Right.
So, I'm better off you telling me how to survive in here than telling me how not to end up here. And then he was just like, he started telling me the counts of the shots. Shit, I was just kind of tripping out on this. I was like, is he being serious? He's really telling me.
Oh
shit.
yeah. They pick up because that's all they have to do. They got all the time in the world.
He's like, they say no warning shots, but they give warning shots. He's like, they give you warning shots. Sit yourself on the ground. He's like, you count to whatever time, get up, start sticking people again. He's all, then you're like, but he's like, they had counts.
Yeah.
And he was doing that they would do, and I was just like, fuck, these motherfuckers are. He was talking about like taking the fence apart to make shanks.
Oh yeah.
He was just telling me all kinds of shit, bro.
Yeah, and it's just little. You just unhook unhook it up, and then just put a little fucking wrapping around it. Boom, you got a shank, and sharpen it in your cell. That's why I was in CO. We knew, like, we just kind of look at the floors, and if you saw like scratch marks, like, oh, this motherfucker's got something.
So someone was digging something or some shit.
Yeah, because you can tell when they're just grinding it on the floor.
Yeah.
To sharpen it up on the cement.
What do you call it? from your experience there, would you say like from like an outsider, sometimes we don't really know what prison. Like I personally never been in prison. I've never
Yeah.
been locked up like that. I've been like arrested, but I've never been like.
Well, that's the crazy thing is that see, it took me 8 years to get the job because I got fucking arrested a few times when I was, and my cousin had told me about this job. He says, hey, when I was about 18, I was still screwing up, choleo or whatever. No real direction. Didn't really have a mom and dad. Just kind of I was raised by my grandparents who they gave me guidance, but I had free reign to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. So, I hung out with the fucking knuckleheads from the neighborhood and we all, basically we all had each other's back and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Regular neighborhood stuff. But I got busted one day. We was at a party and I got busted for there was a shooting that happened at the party.
Mm-hmm.
So, mind you, I used to park my car at an angle every time I'd go to a party. I'd park my car at an angle in case some shit broke out that the cops couldn't block me in. I'd just jump in the car and fucking take off. Well, so it happens, big fight breaks out at the party and stuff. They start shooting. Boom, I'm out of there. I'm gonna get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I got the fuck out of there. And next day, I hear, hey, yeah, the cops are looking for you. Cops are looking for you. The crazy thing is, they go to my house. I'm asleep. They pull the shotguns out. I wake up to a fucking German Shepherd fucking right in my face. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's happening? Don't you fucking move, motherfucker. And I'm like, I'm 118 pounds and stuff at 19 years old. I'm looking up at the cop. I'm like, oh, shit, what happened, And I'm thinking, I didn't do anything. So I'm thinking, the fuck they want me? They grabbed me. They took me up. The crazy shit is I had never really been in trouble up until, I'd school, whatever, but with the law. So they snatched a picture off the wall. My grandma's yelling at him in Spanish. ¿Qué pasó, mijo? ¿Qué pasó? Mijo es good boy. Mijo es good boy. No, mijo es un good boy. And I'm like, how often they hear that shit. They don't give a fuck. So they take me downtown and book me. They tell me that I'm wanted for murder, for this and that. I'm thinking,
what the fuck?
yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? They go, you better tell us now because we have witnesses. I'm scared as fuck. I'm like, oh, fuck, So I didn't know shit. I'm like, well, fuck, I know a fight broke out. Somebody got shot. Oh, yeah, motherfucker, this and that. So, I mean, at a kid, they hook me, they book me, they go downtown. They tell me, okay, we're taking you up to the top floor. Well, the top floor right here downtown is for all the robbers and rapists who rape robbers and everybody who's getting ready to get sent up and shit. So I'm like, fuck, what's going on, man? Fuck, get me the fuck out of here. So as I'm going in, there's I don't know if you're in the holding cells out there, right here downtown. They got TVs outside the cell. I don't know if they still have them. It's been years.
Okay.
But TVs right outside the cells for all the inmates in there to watch the TV. By the time I get up there, it's 5:00. And back then, I don't know if you're Bakersfield and stuff, but there was a newscaster, Galen Young, from the Channel 17 News and stuff. Anyway, he's on there and first story. And so I'm thinking, fuck, I'm gonna try to act hard. Let me walk in here, all 118 pounds of me. I'm gonna try to walk hard. And all of a sudden, fucking comes over the news. 19-year-old Leonard Madrid was arrested this weekend for this weekend's murder of so and so. And then, so I'm thinking, yeah, they're gonna get scared. And then they post my fucking picture. Mm-hmm. The picture they took off the wall is a picture I gave my grandma from fucking Olin Mills back then with a fucking rabbit. They couldn't have picked a faggot. I mean, less masculine. I can't say a less masculine picture of me, and I'm like this all with a fucking rabbit behind me and shit.
Wanted for murder.
I wanted for murder. I'm like, God damn, that picture screamed fucking rape me right now all over it.
Goodness.
I just had to like drop my head like, oh fuck, dude. So I walk in there and one of the big homies in there, hey, is that USC? And I'm trying to do my fucking Simone Holmes. Uh-huh. He's let me show you the rope. Let me tell you what to do right here. I'm like, oh goddamn, please don't fucking rape me.
So that postponed your application?
Yeah, that was one of the times. And then
one of the times.
Well, then years later, I ended up taking that was when I was 19. So when I was 21, I applied for the corrections. And I figured I passed the written test pretty easy. And I thought, okay, cool, I got the job. So at my other job, I started, fuck you guys. It's a fast food job. I'm like, I don't need this. I started showing up late. Oh, the manager wants to see you. Oh, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to be a correctional officer in a few months, So stopped showing up to work, showed up when I want, fucking, Then I go for the interview. and there's a panel of 3 people. There's like a sergeant, a lieutenant.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are all yoked out. You can tell these guys have been there for years. And it was at the Comfort Inn on White Lane. They did the whole, because they were doing a massive hiring because they were trying to fill bodies. Wasco was getting ready to open. Delano was getting ready to open. Corcoran, and Corcoran I think had just opened, so they just needed to fill bodies and stuff. So I figured, I see a line of people out there for the interviews, and I show up in a suit and tie. People were in there with fucking shorts and chanclas and stuff. I'm like, how the fuck guys can get this job with fucking shorts and chanclas?
Yeah.
So I figured I had the suit. I'm like, I'm getting the fucking job. Well, my cousin had told me, hey, let me go over the questions with you. This way, I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna ask. This way, you're one step ahead. Man, fucking 21, you know everything. It's, oh no, I'll get past it, man. I'll get past it. Yeah, I'll get past it. I'll see you next week. Finally, that day comes. Go ahead and sit in the chair. I sit in the chair, and there's a panel in front of me. They said, okay, we're gonna give you some questions, and we want you just to be as honest as you can, and we're gonna record it. As soon as they fucking hit that record button, I was stuck. They're like, Mr. Madrid, what are the duties of a correctional officer? Well, now I'm thinking, I don't fucking know. I just know they made money. So I was like, fuck, dude. And I'm trying to think of every fucking movie I saw, like to like help people and like beat people up and like I don't know, to shoot people, I guess, and beat more people up. I had no clue. She says, you don't know, do you? I said, no, I sure don't. Well, why did you apply? I'm like, fuck, because you guys make a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, you guys are all got good ass pensions.
Yeah. So then they start asking me, what about this day when you got in a fight right here at this fight over here? Yeah, see, but that wasn't my fault, man. Okay, what about this day when you got in a fight at this place over here and you were questioned by the cop? Oh, see, that wasn't my fault either, man. Okay, now why were you fired from this job? Oh, no, because see, that wasn't my fault. I wasn't even stealing that money and stuff. And he says, okay, you seem to be the victim in all these situations. Yeah, because
Right.
that wasn't my fault.
Because it's not my fault, man.
That's why I understood the inmates and stuff. Because like, not everybody. There's criminals in there. Believe me, there's some bad dudes, but not everybody's in there. Fucking, some people just got caught up at the wrong place, wrong time, and like, fuck,
But I've been in those situations, and I'm glad I've never been to prison, man.
Yeah,
That
no.
shit sounds. I think that's one thing I'd like to ask you about is this concept that people have of like prison being this place where it's fucking brutal. People are hurting each other, and they got gangs and shit. And then you have people who say like, well, shit happens. It's unfortunate, and if I'm doing time, I just won't participate in it. But I've met people who are like, you can stay out of problems and shit, but for the most part, if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. There's not really much you can do about it.
Yeah. They'll ask you if you want to, who you run. When you first get there, they'll give you. It's like an interview process and stuff. Who do you run? And you can say nobody, but eventually you're gonna have to. And even if you say, you know what, I want to PC up. I don't want to, I don't want any part of this. Even the PCs have a gang.
Shit.
Yeah. So you're going to click up with somebody. It's and now what they're doing, they're making these 50-50 yards now because it's gotten so everybody PC'd up. Nobody wanted to be part of the cliques, the gangs, anything anymore. So now they decided okay, now we're just going to make our own. So it's kind of like now, okay, they're going to take half that population and put them with the general population and stuff like, hey, these guys, you guys used to all be friends. You guys would start making friends again or some shit. But it was weird because when I first started, I started in '99 and I was at Corcoran, and this is like right after all that the gladiator school, what they were talking about, where
That
they were setting up.
shit, bro. I remember being a kid, and I think people who would find out about that or learn about that would be like, "Oh, how horrible," and blah blah blah. Me growing up, people were proud of that shit. They're like, "Yeah, gladiator school, fool, fucking blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Go to this place, and we have to fight it out, blah blah blah. And this is how it rolls. And people were looking forward to it. It wasn't nothing.
No, believe there was
Now that I'm older, I'm
yeah.
like, man, I
people-
hung out with some fucking idiots.
No, there was a lot of people will have stories when they get out of prison. It's funny because when I would see people I knew that were in there, and and then I would see some of their family or people who knew them. Hey, so and so says, man, it's brutal. It's a thing every day, man. That guy was crying over because his cookie was broken.
Oh man.
I go, nah. I go, you know what? I would tell these youngsters. I go, you know what? You're gonna hear stories from your friends in there that no, you know what? I'm doing good. I'm fucking people up every day. I go, no, they're not fucking people If they're getting out next month, they're not fucking up every day.
Yeah,
And it's
why?
just,
Why
I go,
fuck
it's
that
just
up?
I go, don't. You could be so much more. It's better to like say, it's better shoot for the stars and miss than shoot for the gutter and make it. I tell them, I grew up listening to all those knuckle, and that's all. I got a lot of family, a lot of people I grew up with that were so. That's all you knew. It was like a cousin of mine once told me, he's like, it's like a war. He says, you don't want to be in it, but you're already drafted if you grow up in the neighborhood somehow. He says it's just your way to. You got to find a way to work your way out of it. So I would,
Yeah, I know. With my parents being locked up when I was a kid, I would visit them in prison in Mexico,
yeah,
and you could go into the prison. So like we would just get patted down. They would check our property, and then we'd walk right into the prison and go look for my parents, and then we'd go hang out and have dinner and just spend the day with them inside the prison.
yeah.
Now that I'm older, I realize how dangerous that was and how that concept of going into a prison to visit your family, bringing food, fucking crazy. But being in there, I saw how people would make art. People would
Oh yeah.
make their tattoo stuff. Like, what's something you saw in there that you were like, oh, what the fuck, or something someone told you about that you were like, oh shit, someone just made that shit.
Oh, some of these guys would be create with soap. They would
Mhm.
create statues. They carve out statues with the soap. They would make shit. You see the guys making tamales, actual tamales
With the tostito bags,
with
I
the- yeah,
seen that shit.
with that. Some guys would make actual pies, just with the stuff they would get from the canteen. I'm like, God damn it! How'd you make a chocolate mousse? Then
Art-
there was sometimes when some of these guys had a chocolate mousse, but it was somebody who fucking brought it into them. Like, oh, that bitch looks like Marie Callender's. Then you hear somebody getting walked off. A nurse gets walked off. It's like, oh, that's what happened to the fucking pie.
I remember I got arrested. Like I said, I've been arrested a few times and shit. But I was at a Halloween party, and this guy sucker punched my brother, and so then I hit that fool, and then his friend attacked me from behind, and so it's just
Yeah.
series of shit, and then we ended up getting into a fight, and then I got arrested, and they took me to the junk tank and all that shit. What was the point of the story? I forgot the point of the story. But anyways, I'll just finish the story. But anyways, I got put into the junk tank, and while I was in there, like there was a lot of the politics shit, man, and I was just kind of like trying to figure it out. I was like, what the fuck? Like I walked. I remember I walked in, and they asked me, do you have any medical issues? And I was like, what? And they're like, anything like medically, anything wrong with you? And I was like, oh, yeah, I have a hole in my heart, and then I'm going blind. Like just mentioned a bunch of shit that I had, I was like, whatever. I'm left-handed.
Athlete's foot.
I'm left-handed, and then he's just like, I was like, what's the purpose of this? He's like, because we got to separate you if you have any like medical stuff. And I was just like, oh, okay. And so then the guard's like, so I don't appreciate you fucking lying about, and just like, I was like, what? I was like, nah, for real. I was born with the hole in my heart. I was like, I don't know if I have any issues now. I was like, but you asked me about my medical shit, so I have a heart murmur. I have a eye problem, going blind. And he's like, how can you see? I was like, well, I don't have my glasses, so I was like, I can't really see that well. And then he's like, he got mad. And so then I guess it meant he had to call a doctor. So then the doctor had to come, and he's asking me all these questions. He's checking my heart, and then he talks to him. And so then I guess I qualified not to go into like regular population and shit. And so, man, bro, the dude was mad. He's a little dude. He grabs me. He walks me down the hall, fucking shoves me against the wall. And then I knew I was fucked because like, why did he walk me to this spot?
Yeah, with the no cameras.
Yeah, I was like, it's like, oh fuck, here we go. And so then he's like, you know what, dude, you motherfucker, I'll have you fucking raped and blah blah blah. And I was like, this guy's fucking crazy.
Threatened me with a good time.
Yeah, you promise?
You can't rape the willing.
And then what do you call it? I remember he got mad, and he was like, sign this paperwork. I was like, I ain't signing shit. And then he's like, what? I was like, I don't have my glasses, so I can't see what the fuck I'm signing, so I don't know what it says. So I'm not gonna sign it. And then they put me in the drunk tank. They take me to, after like a couple hours there, they throw paperwork at me. They balled it up and fucking threw it at me. And then I just left it on the paper. I was like, whatever. So I fucking leave. They take me to this place, and I have my bed, right? My
Yeah,
bed
yeah.
and my
Like,
sheets and shit.
roll, yeah.
Have it rolled on top. And I look to my left, bro. The rowdiest, craziest looking motherfuckers are all pounding on the fucking window. Yeah, blah, 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 yeah, bring the motherfucker in here. And I was just like, oh shit, like just trying to keep it together, trying to act tough. Like I didn't give a fuck. And they're like, and we're all in like alphabetical order. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like, I'm Andrade, and then they're all like, Baker, Cortez, bro. And they skip me, and I'm like, whoo, go to the next row, go to the next cells and shit. Oh, these guys are a little bit less rowdy, a little
Yeah,
bit less
yeah.
tattoos. They're a little bit bigger. They're not as loud.
Yeah.
And I just keep going further until I get to the last one. There's no noise. Nobody's pounding. Nobody's paying attention. I go in there, fool. It's all the DUI people and like
All the viejitos.
all the viejitos and the younger people. They put me with them motherfuckers. I go up to my cell, man. I'm not there fucking not even a minute. And this young guy goes in there. And he's like, hey, so what'd you bring? It's like, what? He's like, what'd you bring? What'd you bring in? I was like, I can't bring shit in. Fool, they check you when you. I don't know how. I don't know. I sound
Nothing
like
fell out when I coughed.
I was like, yeah. I was like, and so I didn't know. You know, he was asking me like what contraband I brought and shit.
You should, yeah, get out of there. So I brought in hepatitis C. So
AIDS, monkeypox.
yeah,
So then, like maybe like an hour later, after like I settle in and shit, right?
yeah,
The guy tells me like, oh, I'm just checking to see what you brought in, blah blah blah. He's like, I'm the llavero, blah blah blah. Is this guy and blah blah. I was like, okay, and he starts telling me like the rules. I was just like, okay. And then I want to say like maybe an hour and a half later, there's a little dude and he calls me into a cell. He's like, hey man, you need to come to the cell. We're gonna talk. I was like, man, this is like in the movies. They're gonna try to shank me or some shit or beat me up or like this is like some gang shit.
yeah,
And I was like, all right, whatever. So I walk up there, and then he tries to he has this little paper, bro, and he rolls it out,
yeah,
and he wants to read it to us.
yeah. All the rules, all the
But he can't read, bro. He's like rule 1.
yeah.
He's like, do not enter Oslo. I was like, this motherfucker. Let me read that shit.
Yeah,
But they
it's the tiniest writing too.
but yeah, there's just so many fucking politics in there, man.
Yeah.
And then even the paperwork, because I remember I told you they balled up my paperwork.
Yeah, yeah,
The dude was like, "Where's your paperwork?" And I was like, "I don't have any." He's like, "Bullshit. Everybody has paperwork."
yeah.
I was like, "I don't. They didn't give me no paperwork. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." I was like,
Yeah,
"They wanted me
wanna
to
make
sign.
sure.
They wanted me to sign some paper, and I refused to sign it." And then there was a guy a guy there who he goes in and out all the time.
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they knew him and shit. And then he vouched for me. He's like, "Oh no." He's like, they're fucking with him because he didn't want to sign his paperwork. I
Yeah.
saw. He's all they balled it up and threw it in there.
Yeah, they want to make sure you're not in there for any.
Anything they need to beat you up
Yeah.
about or shit. Yeah, yeah. Fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
For yourself, so would you say like for the most part, if you don't want to be part of it, you can
You
can
can.
get by. You can get by
Well-
not being a part of anything.
Well, it all depends on your crime. Like I say, the lower level guys, you're pretty much gonna be okay. Like they have their certain rules and stuff, but but for the most part, it's just kind of dialed down because most of those guys are getting ready to get out, so they're in there like
Or
say,
have a chance of
DUIs,
getting
have a
out, or
chance
they're
to get-
tired of that life, or whatever.
But even then, you're always gonna run into some asshole somewhere. It's like in high school and stuff. There's always gonna be a bully somewhere who's gonna want to just fuck with somebody because they're having a bad day. But yeah, no, like I say, it took me 8 years to get it because even the second time I tried to apply, I had another run in with the cops. I dropped my girl off at work, and it was a broken taillight in the back of the car, and it was an older car. So cop pulls me over, and his seatbelt law had just passed. Maybe a few days before that.
Mm-hmm.
Cop pulls me over and says, I'm thinking, shit. Well, I knew go get my driver's license, get my insurance. So I pull it out. He walked, and I do undo my seatbelt. He says, any reason why you don't have your seatbelt on? I said, I was reaching for my driver's license and my insurance. He said, well, let me give you a bit of advice. Don't be reaching into your pocket when a cop's coming up behind you. I said, yeah, I get it. Because I had his hand on his gun. I go, okay, no, I get it. I go, well, the reason I pulled you over is you have a broken taillight. I said, yeah, it's an older car, and I'm trying to find the part. I've been to the pick apart and all that stuff. I go, I can't find it, so I'm still looking. He says, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write you a fix-it ticket. Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, whatever. So he writes me the fix-it ticket, and He says, as soon as you get this fixed, go down to the highway patrol and take care of it. All right. So I think about a month and a half later, find the part, get it in, go to the highway patrol, take it down there. I said, hey, I'm just bring you my ticket to get it written off. All right, let's go out there. Looks at the car. Okay. Did you ever take care of the seatbelt ticket? Mind you, they're doing my background for the corrections again.
Yeah.
I said, seatbelt ticket. He's like, yeah, he gave you a seatbelt ticket. He said, you didn't tell me he was giving me a seatbelt ticket. He says, well, you signed it. I'm thinking, fuck, motherfucker. He says, yeah, you were doing court about 5 days ago. He says, there's probably a bench warrant out for you. I'm like, you motherfucker. Shit. So I had to go down to the court, and yeah, I had to, for that $10 ticket at the time, it ended up costing me like close to a little over $200.
And whatever amount of time until you can.
And I got disqualified. They disqualified me. So right there, I was thinking, fuck, I'm just going to give up. Just wasn't meant to be. So then I said, no, I'm giving it another shot. So a couple years later, they had a hiring freeze for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
So then a couple years later, I had to go down there to Fresno to take the test again, the written test. I said, well, I can pass this pretty easy. But I didn't have a babysitter for my daughter. So she was about 5 years old at the time, and I took her. I said, okay, mija, Daddy's going to do this. It's only going to take me 20 minutes. I sat her in the lobby. I told the lady, the secretary out there, if you can just keep an eye on her, I'm going to be right back. I've taken this test, before. I'm knocking it out real quick. All right. So I knock out the test real quick. And then by the time I looked, I was like on, like those multiple, the scanner sheet tests.
Yeah.
I'm on 95 on the bubble sheet. And then I'm on 91 on the answer thing. I'm like, oh, shit. I jumped off somewhere the fuck out right here. So I hurried up, just finished what I could. Got out. Lady hands me the paper. We regret to inform you that you did not pass. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
That sucks, man. A lot of myself, I went to school to work for the government pretty much. And every job I get is all testing.
Yeah.
I definitely have. I mean, I've gotten pretty good at it. I usually score pretty high, but I'll try to keep that tuned in. So I'll sign up for jobs I don't even want.
Yeah.
Just to practice taking the test, practice doing the interviews.
That's also cool too, because it's like I reject you, you don't reject me. See, math was my terrible subject in school and stuff. Even now, and it's funny because my daughters, I mean, they're taking calculus and all this, and they're Dad, can you help me solve this problem? Like,
oh shit,
fuck, I have no fucking clue what that is. That's like a backwards P and some other shit right there. I go, how do you add letters? I'm like, shit. She's like, you said, well, you
over
said
here, you're all using the gang shit. You're like, okay, so if M is 13.
Yeah, no, she goes, I thought you said, when you were in third grade, you were doing high school math. I said, well, yeah, I was. She goes, well, how did you figure? I said, because when I was in high school, I was doing the same math I was doing in third grade.
We call it my dad, he was in that situation too, where we're doing math that he never had to do that shit in school.
Yeah.
My dad's from he was born 1935 and shit. So.
Oh shit.
So when we were doing.
You had an older dad.
Oh yeah. My dad was 51 when I was born.
See, I was the opposite. My dad just turned 70.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I had two teenage parents and stuff, but they were never really together. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, my parents were hella old. But he didn't know high level math, and so he would help us because he was retired.
Yeah.
And so he would buy math books and he would try to learn and teach us, but it got to a point where we're just too far ahead of him.
Yeah.
And so he would just give us the books and tell us okay, just try to figure it out, or I have this book with these formulas and you can try to figure it out yourself. So we myself, I don't like math, but it's something that I can sit and keep applying to myself until I get it right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I'm done with it.
Yeah.
But I did fairly well with math, and I remember when I went the two times I felt oh, okay, you know what, I'm better at it than I think. I hate it, but I'm better at it than I think. Was one time we were sitting in class and the question had to do with comprehension. It was an accounting class, and he goes, if this then that, do you sell or do you not sell? And in my mind, I just gave my concept of what I had learned in the books, and he was, yep, you're right. And it was called what it was he was asking, if something costs you $1 to make, right? Do you sell it for $2? And it's well, yeah, you're making $1 off of it. And then he's like, well, if you made it for $1, do you sell it for $1? And everybody was like, well, yeah, because you break even, and even though you broke even, You fed a bunch of people. You have a bunch of workers. You have a business. You can, use it to get loans. Blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah.
And so, what about if you cost you $1 to make? Would you sell it for 50 cents? And that's when everybody's like, just quiet. And so I raised my hand and I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, would you sell it? And I was like, yeah. And everybody's just like, no, because you're losing money. Like everybody's like, no, stupid. No, stupid, because you're gonna lose money. And I was like, well, if losing money would build me a relationship that will make me more money down the line, then yeah, why wouldn't I sell it at a loss? And he's like, congratulations, Randy, you are correct. Blah blah blah. And he goes, and by the way, it's illegal. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, it's called Japanese accounting. And I guess what they would do, which I think Toyota did it recently, but what they would do is they would, let's say they were, just to do like a random thing. So let's say they manufacture a part, but everybody, there's like 2-3 other companies that manufacture the same part. And we're all selling it pretty much at the same price. So they can go either one of us, right? So it's just based on like relationship.
Yeah.
Or even let's say mine has a little bit lower quality. So one thing I can do is if I have enough investors or enough money saved up, like a treasure chest of money, a savings, what I'll do is I'll sell lower so that my competitors have to lower their price and lose that money.
Yeah.
Or my consumers gravitate towards me because I got a better to sell. So then at that point, I put them out of business because they can't sell at a loss. They don't even know how to sell at a loss.
Right.
Because they're like, no, we're not going to sell at a less than $1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm selling my shit at 75 cents. So they can't figure out how I'm selling it. They're like, I know he's losing money.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. So eventually they either sell to me or I purchase them or they go out of business.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they're out of business, I fucking
Take
shoot my
their
shit up to $5-7 and then I'm fucking everybody.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people.
And I already
understand.
bought up all the entries, so like
Right.
now you can't even buy the metal, you can't buy the parts, you can't get the labor, you can't get the specialist because I fucking sucked all that shit up.
Now it's supply and demand.
Yeah, and I own everything, and you can't get back you can't even get in the business.
Right.
You know? So that's one thing that was called Japanese accounting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so he was telling me about that shit, and that's where I was going. So I was just like, you know what? Like now we call it trumping and shit. I was like, I got a mind for some of this shit. I was like, I would do this, and he's like, exactly, it's a good idea, but it's totally fucking illegal.
Yeah.
And that teacher was a trip. It'd be crazy if they had like a paletero convention. Talk about the latest little paletero thing and shit. Like, oh,
this is a no flavor.
It keeps the temperature and shit. State of the art.
Oh, they'll come up with something.
Then in Bluetooth. So now that you're retired, is there like concepts that you feel more comfortable talking about?
As far as
like the topics itself, because it came from work or it came.
Oh
from
yeah. No, now it feels like I don't have to be muzzled as much, when you talk about the prison or basically your history. I never like to tell people the past where I came from, because like say they would always like, well, how'd you get the job then? What
Yeah.
They get too nosy and stuff like. And actually, like I said, I'm also a real estate agent. And I've been a real estate agent for 19 years and stuff.
Nobody gives a fuck about that. They're like, nah, tell us about the shanking. We want to know people getting
they
shanked.
want who's getting raped. But no.
How would I fare in prison, bro? You think
sometimes it was two different things, because the reason I got into real estate was because law enforcement itself has a 90% divorce rate. So when I was I needed to get a couple of classes, because you get a raise if you get 60 units with the corrections. So I said, well, let me take another class. I just need 5 more units. I said, I'm gonna take this real estate class. So I took the class, and I started. This is right before the boom in 2003, where it just everything shot up. So I said, I started hearing so and so's getting divorced. Did you hear somebody's gonna get divorced? They're gonna sell their house, and so and so. And then I knew once people got the job, they're gonna want to buy houses. First thing they tell you, hey, make sure you get your house. Don't go buy rims. Don't make sure you secure yourself. So I said, man, you know what? If I got my real estate license, I could really clean up in this place. So that's what drove me to get my real estate license. But it was kind of hard in the beginning to differentiate the two and stuff, because sometimes you got those guys that come in from the correct. Nah, I ain't locking up. I ain't selling up with that guy. And I ain't doing this. Nah, basically telling you what they're gonna do and not gonna do and stuff. And then you got to take the other route when you're with as a real estate agent and be super nice to your clients. So what do I got to do to make sure that you get this house? And I'd like to let me be your agent. Let me help you with it. Sometimes I forget the two and stuff. I'd be, motherfucker, I ain't locking up. I ain't. Well, what do I got to do to make sure you get into this house? How do I got to? Do I need to like? Would you care if I just put posters on the wall right here? Well, maybe if you made this way, then of course I'd take it the other way, and I was having a bad day and shit, where it's be like, well, we're thinking about you get in that motherfucking house right now, you cocksucker. Like, wait a minute, that's the other job. I got him switched.
Do you so you have a license? You've been doing real estate for since then?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's some crazy real estate stories too, though. Because when I first started, it was dog eat dog. So you try to find these houses that people didn't want to go over the they want to save money, so they didn't want to use an agent. So for sale by owners. So there's one in particular where the paisas are like got super machismo and stuff,
Yeah.
So there was a guy, one of the houses, he was selling it. I went to his house. I said, hey, how much? ¿Cuánto quieres por la casa? How much you want for the house? And he wanted 115. I didn't tell him I was an agent. I said, what about if I can get you 130,000 for that house? He said, well, how much are you gonna get? I said, no, you're gonna get 130,000. Would you sell it? Well, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it, man. So I said, all right. So, and like I say, everything was shooting up at the time and stuff. So I call him up on a Friday night and I tell him, I said, hey, tell him all this whole thing's in Spanish, but I tell him, I said, hey, we got a client. We're going to come and see your house tomorrow.
Yeah.
He said, okay, well, voy a jugar football. I'm going to be playing soccer tomorrow, but my wife's going to be there. I said, okay, well, it's okay. I'm going to take them at 10 o'clock and stuff. And, I'm going to show them the house. Okay. I take a couple down to his house, and I don't like to follow the couple around and stuff like that. So I said, hey, you guys feel free to look around and, let me know what you guys think. So they're walking outside. The guy's wife comes and hands me a cup of coffee. ¿Te gusta una taza de café? You'd like some coffee? I said, yeah, okay. She's already handing it to me. But I'm asking her, where are you guys planning on moving to? If she's excited and stuff because they're going to be selling the house. And she's just kind of just nodding her head and stuff. Well, this guy comes to the front door. He's got all his soccer gear on. It's sponsored by Bimbo. And, he's got all his cleats on and stuff. And, hey, how you doing? ¿Cómo estás, señor? How you doing? He gives me this look like, he looks at her, looks at me, looks at her, looks at me. He's giving me that, now it's on, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he walks right past me, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened here, So as the people come back in, they said, okay, can we talk outside? I said, yeah, let's go. So we walk outside, and they said, we'd like to make an offer. We want to offer 150,000. I said, oh, shit, he's going to get 20,000 more than even I told him he was.
Isn't it turn that frown upside down?
Yeah. So I get in the truck. I said, well, let's go to my office, and we'll go right up the offer. And so then I give him a call. I said, we'll meet in my office. So I give him a call him, let him know, hey, I got good news for you. Tell him in Spanish. He says, I go, we got you $20,000 more. Fuck you, motherfucker. I go, what? Chinga tu madre, way. And I was like, what the fuck? He goes, you telling me I disrespect, the house ain't for sale no more. You disrespecting me, motherfucker. And fucking having coffee with my wife like you guys are having an affair. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about, bro?
Damn.
He's like, no. He goes, I said, hey, first of all, I go, your wife offered me a coffee and that's all. Don't you fucking talk about her. I already fucked her up, and when I see you, I'm gonna fuck you up too, motherfucker. I was like, whoa, bro, fuck, you're gonna what? I'm gonna fuck you up too, motherfucker. You are a fuck you. I'm a fuck you.
You are a fuck you.
You are a fuck you. So I said, all right, fucking turn my truck around. I went to, and I shouldn't have. I should have kept it professional, but I just fucking lost it. So I fucking drove to his fucking house. I parked on the fucking front yard. I go, all right, motherfucker, now what's up? And he's at the front of his door. He's got those big old solid screen doors, those big black ones. He's like, ah. I said, well, come outside, motherfucker. He's like, I gonna fuck you up. I go, well, come outside, motherfucker. I gonna fuck you up. I said, well, then come outside, motherfucker. I'm not afraid of you, motherfucker. Well, then come outside, motherfucker. And he's kicking his door and he's spitting at his own fucking door.
Yeah.
And he's like, I go, yeah, that's what I thought, motherfucker. So you're not gonna come outside, you bitch. So then he's like, and he tells me, if you don't leave, I'm gonna call la chota. I go, you gonna call the cops, motherfucker? Okay, call the cops. I'll wait right here. Call the cops. This way they can see your wife. He gets scared. He's like, oh, fucking slams the door. The fucked up part about it is I had to come back the next day to take my sign off. There's a big picture of my sign had my face on it. He drew a dick on my face and fucking drew horns on me.
Fuck.
And fucking, it was like, he colored in my teeth. I'm like, motherfucker.
How was the coffee?
Huh? It wasn't worth the fucking, my commission.
We'll take a real quick break.
Yeah.
If you need to use the restroom. We'll do the welcome back.
Yeah.
I know I didn't do the intro, but it has like,
Oh, right on.
and then has a bunch of random.
Oh, that's badass.
It has you can make your. Hello, 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 hello. I need the robot voice.
Freakazoid, hello buds. Please report to the dance.
Over. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know how to do it. But, well, anyways, so you're talking about the back to where we're at last. You said you're talking about the academy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I finally, when I finally made it, they finally cleared my background and finally said, okay, give you an academy date. I said, okay, finally, I'm happy and stuff. Now I'm gonna start. Now I got not only a job, but I got a career, with a retirement and everything. And I'm 28 years old. I'm thinking, fuck, finally, I'm gonna get on with this job. Thinking, and then my cousin had told me, he says, it's kind of paramilitary. They're gonna kind of fuck with you and stuff. They're gonna try to break you and stuff. But I'm like, nah, I think nothing gonna teach me that the streets haven't taught me and stuff.
Hey.
And then one thing I never dealt with was confrontation. I was never good at getting somebody come up. Hey man, I heard you're talking shit. Well then, you know what? You've already
de-escalation.
Yeah, you've already crossed that line. So now we're just gonna fucking throw. That's it. Well, wait a minute. Well, I didn't say. No. You already crossed that line. You hit me up. Fucking now we just gotta throw. So when I got on with the corrections, the first day you get on, they have you line up and you're in a suit and tie and stuff, and they tell you dress business attire. Well, my girl and my daughter drive me up. And my daughter was 8 years old, and I had never left her at any time and stuff. Mm-hmm. Daddy was always home. Daddy was always working. So now she's crying all the way up because I'm going to be gone for 6 weeks. Daddy, please don't go. Dad, just don't go. Just stay and be a janitor like you are. I used to work as a custodian for the schools. Yeah. Just be a janitor, Dad. And now I'm getting choked up. I'm like, man, Mija, it's going to be good for us and stuff. I'm going to get it all, And she's like, Dad, just don't, Dad. And of course now I'm getting choked up. So now I said, you know what? I'm gonna give you a big hug, mija. And I'm gonna see you in 6 weeks, So I go give her a hug. I said, giving her a hug and stuff. And I said, okay, I give her a kiss on the forehead. Daddy loves you and Daddy's gonna see you in 6 weeks, mija. It's not a long time. Yeah. No, Dad. So I look back as I'm getting in line. I look back and she's just pouring tears. I'm like, oh man. So here come my tears. So I had a pair of sunglasses. So I put my sunglasses on. I get in line. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. So I get in line. No sooner did I get in line, I'm standing straight. Cadet! I look to the side. This motherfucker's like right here in my face. Are those prescription glasses? No, they're not. No, they're not what? No, they're not prescription glasses. No, they're not prescription glasses what? No, they're not prescription glasses that I bought. What? I'm like, what the fuck? What do you want? And get them off your fucking face now. Right? My first reaction, this guy's gonna have a fucking bad day because he's this close to me, and I'm thinking, fuck, you're gonna throw it all away by fucking. I thought in my cousin's head, in my mind, I hear my cousin's voice. It's just a game, man. They're just gonna play a game with you. So I took him off my glasses. I took off my glasses. I put them in my pocket, and he just turns around. He had a beret on and stuff. And mind you, these are the guys, like I say, that got picked on in high school and stuff. So now they get some sense of power that they want to fuck with people and stuff. So then he goes down the row and he starts fucking with other people. Now I knew not to take it personal because this is just what he was trying to fucking do. And of course, there was people who got the job that shouldn't have been. There's one guy getting out of his car, and I still see it from time to time. But this guy had they tell you to show up in business attire. Mm-hmm. This guy shows up with fucking dogs playing poker and fucking shorts and some fucking Santa chanclas and fucking. The guy says, motherfucker, you think you're going on vacation? He goes, get your fucking ass to a store, get yourself a fucking suit now. The guy's like, what the fuck? He says, I didn't sign up for this. You signed up for this, motherfucker. You either fucking go do it or you don't come back at all. Well, I saw the guy coming back, and he's like, as soon as he got back with it, he happened to be my roommate too. So,
how do you deal with? Have you ran into inmates?
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, it's like whatever.
Yeah, because I was never that dick, I was never. I like I said, I grew up, in the neighborhood and stuff, so I knew respect. I knew what, these guys. I would always use humor. Like, hey, give me a joke, I'll give you a joke, and then I've learned some pretty good jokes from fucking just from the inmates of all races too. It's and And sometimes someone would come up and tell me, and I'm not like patting myself on the back, but someone would come up, hey man, how come you're not a dick? I said, well, how come you're not a dick?
Right.
They would say stuff like, I go, no, I said, I learned thank you, please, excuse me, any kind of, just basically man to man. We're all men.
Like I'm innocent too. I shouldn't be here either, bro.
And he'd say, oh, did you learn that shit in the academy? No, I learned that shit in kindergarten. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's it's just like basic shit, right?
Yeah,
just showing respect, and
yeah.
for the most part, if people don't want trouble, they're not.
Yeah, I
they're
didn't get
not.
the soft peaches thrown at me in high school and stuff. So it's like,
The time that I was there in the drunk tank thing, I remember this one guy was telling me that we couldn't talk. He was like, "Oh, we can't talk," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, because I'm a paisa, and you're a sureño." I was like, "I'm not a sureño." He's like, "Where were you born?" I was like, "LA." He's like, "You're sureño." I was like, "But I'm not in a gang." He's like, "No, that's just region. Like you're automatically on your paperwork, it's gonna say sureño. Like there's nothing you can do about that." And I was like,
yeah,
really?
they automatically tag you. Yeah.
I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And then he was like, yeah. So like, they don't let you talk to me. And then I was like, at that time, I was kind of still kind of like, man, I'm only here for a couple hours, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck about this. And he starts telling me the story that there was a guy that went in there, and they take turns with the TV, right? The paisas have it at this time, white guys have it at that time, and then the sureños have it at this time, whatever. And so apparently, this big ass motherfucker came in that was like 6 something, big dude, right? And so he just decides that he's gonna control the TV. So he walks up, he starts changing the channel. Nobody says shit to him, and so he just starts enjoying the TV and shit. And he said the guy was telling me he was teaching me how to make a Cadillac, and he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Yeah." A couple minutes later, they just circled him. He didn't even see it. He was watching the TV, all happy and shit. And he's all, they just came around him, and he's all, first guy came at him. He started fighting that guy. Then the second guy jumped in. He's like, yeah. Once he got to the fourth, fifth dude, he's all, there's nothing you can do, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, they just had him. They fucked him up, and he didn't touch that TV again.
Yeah.
I was like, man, people. And then I remember, I got into it a little bit too, because the guy was like, yeah, you got to be like, you don't let the paisas tell you what to do. You don't talk to the paisas, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You don't share nothing with them. And I was like, fuck. But my cellmate was a paisa dude. And he was telling me how he was gonna get deported and all this shit.
Yeah.
And he like got arrested with his girlfriend. He's like, and he's just kind of telling me shit while I was like in my room. And then the dude was like, he's like, yeah, he tells me all these rules. And so the guy's just sitting there, and he's looking at me, waiting to see if like I'm gonna punk him. And I was kind of like, I was like, hey, that fool said you have to clean the room. And then I walked out. And he started cleaning it. He started cleaning it. And I walked out. And then the fool looked at me. He was just like, yeah, tell him what to do. And I was just kind of like, oh man, prison's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I had to do the burpees because they told me, they were like, oh, you don't have to do the burpees because it's like your first week.
Yeah.
He's all, we let you, give you like a pass for like the first week, and then you got to do burpees every day with us. And I was like, nah, I can do them. I did. I did the burpees. I did the burpees, and then that night I started feeling like my shoulder, like what the fuck.
Yeah.
And then the morning they let me go. When I got home, got back into bed and got whatever my house stuff done, and then like that night I was like, what the fuck, dude? I felt like a crazy pain, bro. Like it was like I went and bought some medication. That shit, it fucked me up for days. I had a fucked up a nerve on my shoulder blade.
Oh yeah. You gotta make sure you stretch that stuff out.
But I was like, these motherfuckers do this every day.
And and you know what? And without steroids, you see these guys get fucking ripped, and no steroids. No
and
nothing.
just like how they make the little fucking tamales, they make they make little protein shakes
Yeah.
and shit to like get their. Oh yeah,
It's ingenious and stuff. And then thinking, we have all that capability to do it out here, but we just get too fucking lazy because we know I got all day to do it. Just go get a fucking 12-pack at the store. Oh, you know what? I'd rather think I'm fucking buff.
So you got kids?
Oh yeah. I got 2 older ones and 2 younger. Well, I got my oldest son. He just turned 33. My daughter's 31. I got a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old daughters. I got 1 son, 3 daughters.
They're
I'm on my 4th grandkid too.
I was listening to this guy talk about how kind of throughout history, people always learn from their elders, right? The elders were the most respected people, the most knowledgeable people,
Yeah.
the most skilled people. But they're saying that now it's turning the other way, where the youngest people are the most skilled people and the most knowledgeable people, and they're having to teach older people how to use
Oh yeah,
everything.
technology.
And so, do you feel that kind of the same way with your kids? Like, are you seeing that they're like picking up shit a lot sooner than
Oh
whatever
yeah,
age
yeah,
you were
yeah,
at?
yeah. My daughter's got a master's degree and she's a psychologist and stuff.
Mhm.
So I mean, she's constantly picking my brain for different things and stuff. Like, why would you pick up the fork with your left hand? Because I'm fucking getting peanut butter. Fuck. My son, he's he works for the union, he's got a good job and stuff like that. A little secret, he actually did some time. My son, and that was kind of a bitch to do, but he had to learn. Two different moms and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but he's straightened it up. He's got a good job. He owns his own house, and he's doing great. Both my kids are doing great, and I'm like I say, my younger daughters, same thing, straight A's, and I don't know where they get it because fucking I couldn't do shit. I didn't understand shit. I actually got kicked. I dropped out of school my sophomore year, and I've said fucking. I had no plan. And my grandparents loved me. They raised me. But like I say, they were older, so I had free reign to do whatever I want. So it's kind of like I used to live across the street from East High at the time. We moved everywhere, but at the time, lived across from East High. So if I didn't want to go to a class, I just went home, fucking took a nap. I'll come back at lunch. And back then, this is the '80s. I'm not sure how old you are, bro, but
36.
okay, well I'm 51, so this is the '80s. So you'd have fucking dudes at the parking lot across the street at the hamburger stand. Back then it was called Vita's,
Mm-hmm.
the hamburger stand across the street from East High. But you'd actually have dudes in their 20s and stuff, and it's out there drinking beer. And then you just walk over there, have a beer with with some of the older dudes and stuff. And these guys were there, and mind you, there was no Me Too movement back then and shit. These guys were there to pick up fucking chicks,
Yeah.
and these girls. We couldn't compete with the fucking we're trying to compete with these 15-year-old girls, and these dudes had fucking cars and they were selling dope and they had all the fucking money. It's like, and oh, my boyfriend's coming to pick me up. Well, the guy had a beard like you did. So, like I was barely growing pubes. Look.
How was that seeing people that had cars and then you didn't? Did you have a car?
No, hell no. I didn't have nobody buy me a car. I saved up and I had me a scooter because I worked for these. It was called the JTPA program, and you worked in the summertime to go help out like the janitors at the schools. But your parents had to be under a certain income to be able to qualify for those things. And so I was able to get a down payment for one of those. It was a Honda. It wasn't a Honda Spree. It was a Aero 50, just a little bit bigger and stuff. But I remember I was a freshman and I got one. I saved up for it and I bought it. And I mean, shit, I was cool. Shit, I had stuff. It was cool up until I was a sophomore when everybody was getting their driver's license and actually had cars. That thing only went 35 miles an hour.
I know I've known people from the 80s and 70s, and they talk about their cars. And then, I think about like I had a friend that had like 3 or 4 different lowriders in high school,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, I could never fucking afford it as an adult,
Yeah.
you know. And you meet the guy, and you're like, I bet you this motherfucker's so dope.
Yeah.
Like he won't tell you, like, because they're like a respectable adult.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But you're like, this motherfucker had to be selling dope. Like,
Yeah.
no way he had. And then I think a lot of it though, it wasn't that. It was sometimes it was just working a part-time job, working a bunch of hours,
Yeah.
living with your parents, not having to pay certain things.
Yeah.
That kind of gave you an upper hand, and like whatever income you made just went straight to like rims and
Yeah.
things like
I was
that.
always jealous of those guys though, because like I say, those guys. I mean, you had the pretty boys in high school and stuff, but you had those guys who were, like I say, they were, big gordos and stuff like that, but they had the nice mini trucks back then and stuff, and they were, these chicks were getting in the car with them. You're thinking, well, fuck, why even bother working out? All I got to do is fucking save up for a fucking mini truck. And I used to lose out on my girls with guys who, oh, at least she's got a car. Well, it's my scooter works, and we'll get a ticket because it's only for one passenger, but do the best I can.
Like you never fucked on the scooter, bro?
Huh?
Like you never fucked on the scooter?
It was too tiny.
My brother got a motorcycle just to fuck on a motorcycle. He was, and then nobody knows my brother, but
Yeah.
anyways, he's the half Chinese one.
Yeah.
My mom's first husband was Chinese, and they have 3 kids together, or they had 3 kids together, and so my brother in the summer would go back home to his dad's, and he owned a Chinese restaurants.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, he owned the Chinese buildings. He owned the buildings, and he had the Chinese restaurants in them. So my brother would go back, and then he would manage the place during the summer and learn how to cook and learn how to do different stuff for the business.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things was that the fucking, it's Mexico. He has papers now. And so then he would go back and he's like a business owner pretty much. And so like these kids, the ladies that work there would be like, oh, el hijo del dueño. And so this fool would be piping the fucking waitresses.
Oh, yeah. He had power. It's all about power.
And then one of them, he took this girl home on her bike. And I remember, I think I cock blocked one time because I was with them one time when he dropped her off. And I remember because he was describing where he popped her, and I was just like, oh, I remember we dropped her off, and she would have to walk through like this dirt piles and shit to like get to her house. He's like, yeah, right there, all the trash and shit. Yeah, she had to walk through those buildings. He's like, I piped her right there, pulled up the bike, and just fucked her on the bike.
Yeah.
I was like, this motherfucker guy. My brother, he got so much ass just from and my mom's business too. My mom owned a taco shop. She owned a nightclub as well, but she had this Mexican restaurant. She had it for a little bit, and my brother and my uncle, well, my mom opened up the nightclub, and so she needed someone to run the taco place, but she didn't want to like have a manager or anything like that. So she ended up leasing the business to my uncle. Well, my brother and my uncle would run it, but half the time they were piping chicks.
Like I say, it's a position of power. I think that's why some of these guys at these fast food restaurants want to hurry up and become fucking assistant managers and shit because, it's more just about the power thing. It's the
I was yeah, I've always tripped out on how that works, like relationships at work.
Oh,
I know I myself, like when I would work somewhere, I'd always say like, oh, don't shit where you eat.
Yeah,
and
that's always been my philosophy.
Well, I told a friend that shit one time. He goes, I shit all over that motherfucker.
I shall shat right here.
I shall shat all over the motherfucker. Yeah, I've heard like different people. My sister, bro, she's already mad. I've brought this up to her already, so she's already mad at me because I brought it up already. But my sister, bro, every one of her husbands and just about every boyfriend that she's had has been a coworker.
Oh, really?
Like a direct coworker, like like you're both supervisors. You supervise this side, or you supervise that side and shit. And then she ends up dating him and marrying him and shit.
Yeah, no, I learned that long time. And this is coming from when I first started working with the schools. Like I say, I was working as a custodian helper. But you'd hear their life experiences, some of these guys, and that's what they were telling me. Never shit where you eat.
Yeah. Now there's just people just do it. They don't go fuck. They don't go fuck. And then I've known people tell me like that. I have a nephew that the manager, they ended up dating and now they live together and shit. It's just like, what the fuck? She was like in her, like she's significantly older, like probably about like 6 years.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, he was like, he tells me too. He's like, yeah, bro, I was just 18. She was, she was 26 or something, and then she took advantage of me for it.
That was a crazy thing about working in corrections and stuff like that, because you'd see these girls come in, and mind you got to be there at least, at the very least 5 years to be able to get up even a piece of the weekend, and it's you're lucky and stuff. Some of these girls would get in there, and right away it's like, who can we fuck first? Which supervisor can we fuck first and stuff? And you'd see these girls. Some of the girls were like professional, and I don't want to say fucking professional fucking mothers, but they'd go get pregnant by one CO or by a supervisor, and then they'd go get pregnant by another one. And it's kind of like, then they quit because they're like, well, shit, I had 4 kids, but you know what? I don't even have to work because I got income for fucking 18 years.
All of them, yeah.
This is my retirement right here.
That is crazy.
And we would always see, we're like, shit, and and of course, some of these supervisors, some of them I couldn't believe they would actually leave their entire families for for some of these girls and stuff like that. It was like could have been maybe the second piece of ass they ever had in their life and stuff, but it was crazy. And of course that didn't work out because what do they say? If they do it with you, they'll do it to you.
Yeah. That's divorce and all those things are it's a hard topic to even discuss. People, getting money out of other people, and people doing it like a fucking job.
Yeah, they made
like a career. They'd be trying to get pregnant by people and shit.
One girl already had a kid from a professional. She never said who it was, but she said he was a professional baseball player, and she was in there to have more kids just so she could have insurance.
To backup plan.
Yeah. So I was like, "Fuck, you got it down." Fuck.
Yeah, I was tripped out even when I would go visit Lerdo.
Yeah,
because I had clients in there. And I'd go in there and I'd just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. as a kid.
all folongas and shit,
Yeah.
all fucked up, and um, taking their kids. The sad part was like when they were teenagers,
Yeah.
like they weren't old enough to realize that their parents were idiots, and so
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, how is it in there?" And she's like, "Oh, we're cool. I'm getting along with everybody. I'm making
Yeah.
friends and shit." And I'm like, "Oh, that's not." I was like, "This is so sad." Watching someone talking to the family through glass. Mind you, I grew up visiting my parents in jail as well.
Yeah. No, I was.
But
My grandfather was always in there, so we were always going to there though.
the ones that the ones that would get on my nerves were when I had to hold the baby, bro. When she's on the other side of the glass and I'm just
Yeah.
holding the baby and she wants me to put the phone up to the baby and then she's tapping on the glass and I'm just kind of like, oh, this shit's so fucking lame.
Yeah, you're touching the glass with your hand. They're both this like you realize you're not feeling each other.
Yeah, it's a fucking crazy situation. You got any shows coming up? Anything you want to promote? Your IG? Where can people find your content? What kind of content are you putting out? Fans only?
No, not yet. Actually, I don't even know. Like I said, a lot of this stuff's brand new to me, so I'm still learning and stuff like that. I just, like I say, I have some kind of not fear, but of getting on that any of that the fans only thing like that. Because this is my biggest fear would be that one day, I'm going to be talking to a girl or something, and she's like, "Hey, get on this site, okay? Go ahead and take all your clothes off. All right, I want to see you jerk off. All right. Now your mom will now be joining the Zoom meeting. Motherfucker.
Oh, shit. Get set up.
Yeah. So I'm like, fuck, mijo, what are you doing?
I always tell a story of I had to get a physical for a job.
Yeah.
So I go do the physical. I get called into a room and I put on the gown and stuff and I'm chilling. And then the guy comes in and he tells me, he's like, I had taken the physical when you go to the military, but I'd never taken like a physical for like a job or like a sport.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't too sure what they were gonna do. So I go into the room and sit there, get ready. He comes in, and he's like, go ahead and lay down, or go ahead and sit down. So I sit down. He checks my heart and he listens to a couple things, and he's like talking to me, asking me like general questions about my health. And then he's like, go ahead and lay back, and I lay back. He picks the gown up, and he cups my dick. He doesn't grab my balls. He doesn't cup my. He grabs my dick, and he moves it to one side. He moves it to the other side, and I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing? So I grab the gown and I push the gown over myself again.
Yeah.
And he flaps the gown back up, and then he starts moving my dick around again, and then he's like, all right, and then he just takes off his glove and he steps out, and I was like, that's not a physical.
You better hope it was the doctor, not the janitor.
Bro, he leaves. I start looking at the plaques. They're all Chinese. They're all Chinese names. This guy was white.
Oh.
Dude, I tell everybody, like, I think I got molested, bro. And I don't know. I don't know if it was staff and they didn't want to say nothing. So they just let me go and just like he passed or some shit.
Yeah.
You know? But that wasn't a physical. That wasn't a physical. And the motherfucker's name didn't match any. They were all Chinese names, bro.
Oh, shit.
I was like, I think I got it. And every time I tell people like how's the physical? And I was like, did they do this? He's like, they never touch your dick, fool. They might make you cough or something, but they ain't gonna like move your dick around. And I was like,
we're running a pilot program here.
who knows what all like, and that shit could have gone south, bro. It could have gone like way worse.
But no, I do have a show coming up. I usually get called randomly and stuff, but I know I have one coming up at the Well on October 14th. And then, like I said, I'm going to try to do more of these open mics and stuff, just kind of work new material and stuff. And like I say, I enjoy it and stuff. It just, and people say, you need to talk more about your mom and dad. Well, my mom and dad were never together. They were just, I can't even call it dating. They met in L.A. and then she got pregnant and he left. He took off to fucking El Paso. So I always tell people my dad got his wings. Oh, when did he die? Well, he didn't die. He just split to fucking El Paso on the plane when he found out my mom was pregnant.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap up. And then if you later on have any information, I could always add it later.
Okay.
I'm gonna space out all the interviews.